Tonight's species is found both on the west and east coast. These fish love to thrash through schools of bait fish, cutting their tails off and then making them easy prey. Tonight we're talking about the kingfish here on the Florida Insider Fishing Report, which starts right now.
Welcome to the Florida Insider Fishing Report, presented by Yamaha.
We're the Florida Insider Fishing Report, hoping everyone is ready to get on the water this weekend to get back into the swing of things while catching those kings. Am I right, Rick?
You're absolutely right, Brie. You know, the one thing that I love about the kingfish is when you first hook him, how he smokes off the drag. And certainly that's one of the reasons why guys call them smokers. But
exactly. We've put a few together.
Yes, we sure have. Yeah, big ones off of Key Largo.
That was fun.
It really was.
You reeled that one in.
It was rough, though.
It was good. It was rough. I know, that was a saltwater cowboy day for sure. All right, well, we also have a special guest from Florida Coast Equipment we'll be talking to a little later in the show. But before we get to our first captain, let's say hi to our king of the CCA workbench, Dave Farrell. Dave.
That's not why I call them smokers.
Why? Oh.
I put them in the smoker. That's why I call them smokers.
Dave likes to eat.
I like to eat the kingfish. I like to make him into dip. He's not that bad if you grill him the first day you catch him either, but I like to smoke them.
But first we got to catch them, and you're going to tell us how to do that.
I am. I'm going to try to anyway.
You're going to try to. You
try
will.
To tell you.
I believe in you. All right, first up, we're starting our King Fling in the Fish Bites East region with Captain Mike Holliday, where the fish are spread out. But per usual, if you find the bait, you'll find the fish.
That's pretty much how it is, Brie. August and September are historically good kingfish months in my region. The fish have a wide variety of bait schools to feed from. The offshore bite is spread along the reef from like 90 to 150 feet of water, from Palm Beach all the way north to Fort Pierce. At the same time, there's fish on the Loran Tower Ledge, the 6 Mile Reef, the offshore bar, and the sand pile. There's even fish on the bait schools in 20 to 30 feet of water close to the beach. Target the fish with a wire stinger rig, like an R&R tackle Teflon wire rig, or you can use the triple hook monofilament Palm Beach rig. Spanish sardines are the favorite kingfish bait, but everything from a goggle eye to a blue runner to a threadfin, pilcher, or mullet will work. Almost any live bait will work. A lot of the kings are in that 10 to 15 pound class right now, but you know, there's been some 30-pound fish in the mix as well. I have a photo of a king. Craig Turek caught that king. He got it to eat just a slow-trolled Spanish sardine on a spinning reel. That was on the offshore bar south of Fort Pierce. The other thing we got going right now, we're on the tail end of the sailfish bite, but that doesn't mean there's not a lot of fish around. The majority of fish are spread out from about St. Lucie Inlet to Fort Pierce Inlet in anywhere from like 50 to 130 feet of water. So it's a big area they're spread out over. The current's been really bad offshore. It's been like 5 knots. So it seems like a lot of those fish are moving in closer to shore to either get out of the current or to feed on the juvenile flying fish that seem to be all over the place in that shallow water right now. And it also seems like a lot of fish are on those shallower wrecks in like 60 feet of water that are holding bait. The good news is that the sargassum weed has thinned out a bunch, so you can, troll ballyhoo, you can troll strip baits or slow troll live baits if you want to cover a lot of water. And then when you find them, start, drifting with live baits. But the boats that are specifically targeting the sails are putting up kites and power drifting, mostly on the 6 and 8 mile reefs off Stewart. The average sailfish right now is anywhere from 30 to 50 pounds. And I have a photo of a first caught sailfish, Julie Paulson of Stewart. That's her first sail she ever caught. She caught it in 110 feet of water on Sunday, and that fish ate a live threadfin.
Mike, it sounds like the Fish Bites East region's hot offshore. What about the inshore fishing? What do you got?
Yeah, calm seas and clear water have really fired up the beachfront snook action. Places like Hope Sound Beach, the Hope Sound Wildlife Refuge, Bob Graham Beach, Walton Rocks, South Beach and Pepper Park and Fort Pierce are real good. The Vero Cove is real good. A lot of fish on the beach right now. So there's still a lot of fish in the inlets as well, and on the beaches on either side of the inlets. And also, places like the Lake Worth and Juneau Piers, you don't want to overlook them. As a rule, the smaller male fish are tighter to the rocks around the inlets. And if you want to target the beach fish with lures or flies, you want to be on the water right at dawn. That's when the fish don't get a good look at your offering in that clear water. And then as the sun gets up, you'll know because the fish will start dogging your artificials, either your fly or or your lure, they'll follow it and follow and follow it, won't commit. And that's the time you want to switch over to a live threadfin, a pilchard, or a croaker. Mullet will also work. We should really start seeing the first of the fall mullet schools showing up on the beach. So they'll start switching over towards mullet pretty quick. In the inlets, live threadfins and croakers are the top baits. Average snook right now, 8 to 20 pounds. And I have a photo of a real nice fish that Candace Murphy caught. She caught that in the St. Lucie Inlet on a live threadfin. And I love this photo. I love that she didn't want to touch it, so her boyfriend Robert had to hold that photo for her. Had to hold that fish for her.
Love it.
That's great. That's
Well, so
right there.
the resident tarpon bites, the other thing that's been going on, it's real strong in the Indian River. Places like the Crossroads in Stewart, Big and Little Mud Creeks, up in Fort Pierce and Vero, on the channels at Harbor Branch, and the moorings have been really good. So the last couple of weeks, there's also been a lot of fish dogging the mullet schools on both shorelines of the Indian River, really in St. Lucie County, south of Fort Pierce. And if you can find them, you can really get on that bite. What's nice about that bite is it's going all day long. It's not a morning bite like the other ones. For the fish in the creeks, that's pretty much a dawn bite. You can slow troll live mullet on 60-pound fluorocarbon leader and a 7.0 trocar circle hook, or you can cast a 4-inch saltwater assassin Houdini-colored sea shad, throw that at the rolling fish and just reel it back painfully slow, and you'll get the bite. The fish on the mullet schools on the shorelines are obviously focused on live mullet. Average tarpon's 30 to 80 pounds right now, with fish to 150 pounds. And I got a photo of one of those fish that's dogging the mullet schools on the shorelines. Jimmy Walden, Captain Jimmy Walden, he released this nice tarpon in the Indian River just south of the St. Lucie power plant, and that fish ate a live mullet.
All right, well, we talked about offshore, inshore. Let's talk about the bass fishing. Mike, what do you got?
Yeah, man, the water levels are up a bit on the Kissimmee Toho chain, and the fish are in their typical summer pattern. You want to be on the water at dawn and fishing the hydrilla mats that are out in the deeper water. The top water bite remains pretty slow, but there is a decent bite for the guys that are reeling 6 to 8 inch June bug colored worms across the top of the hydrilla, and then pausing them and let them drop into the little potholes. They're doing okay early in the morning. The hot bite really has been the shiner bite. That's producing 20 to 30 fish a morning with some really nice fish in the mix. I know Bill Gotti had a 9-pounder and a 6-pounder on one of his fishing trips this week. The key is to find big holes in the hydrilla, those that are typically over like shell beds or hard bottom, so that it doesn't grow there. And then just add a little weight to your shiner to get it down in the water column, make it get down a little deeper where it's cooler and the fish are more active. There's also been a good bite on the mouth of the creeks if the water is moving. If you get a lot of rain overnight, the creeks are hot in the morning, throw in either lipless crankbaits or a Bass Assassin Vapor Shad in any of the shad colors. Right now, it's a 20 to 30 fish morning with the average bass 1 to 3 pounds on Kissimmee and Toho.
All right, Mike, great report. Thank you so much for starting us off this week. You did a great job covering your region. I appreciate your hard work, and we're going to go ahead and take a look at the TH Marine hotspots from the East region. He says inshore, the mangrove snappers on the jetty at Fort Pierce Inlet. Use live sand perch, sardines, or shrimp on that slack tide. And then offshore, mutton snappers on the Loran Tower ledge. Use grunt plugs, sardines, cigar minnows on a 50-foot fluorocarbon leader. That's a long leader, Brie.
That is a long leader. All right, moving into the R&R Tackle Southeast region, it's time to get wired with Captain Jimbo Thomas. Tell us what's up, Jimbo.
Hey, Bree, Rick, and Dave. You know, in the Southeast region, kingfish can be caught throughout the year, and one of the best times and my favorites is around the full moons of March, April, and May, which is not right now, as we all know. And that's when we catch the most and the largest kings. Live baiting and trolling are the most popular tactics to target these kings. And on the live bait side, pilchards, herrings, sardines, and goggle eyes, those are favorites, fish under a kite or on the drift. And if you don't have any live bait available, you can try trolling 3.5 drone spoons or a sea witch and bonita strip behind a wire line or behind a planer, so you want to get that bait down deep. And some days those artificials trolling will outfish the live baits. Now, standard depths are anywhere from about 80 to 160 feet of water, and you definitely want a piece of wire leader because those kings got some razor sharp teeth. Otherwise, you'll just come back with no hooks. And then average size king, anywhere from 4 to 20 pounds, but we do catch quite a few larger ones throughout the year. Now, I got a photo here, and this is John Doyle with a nice springtime king. We caught this one in May. So that's when they were biting good, around the May full moon.
All right.
Now, a little bit further offshore, there's been enough dolphin out there to make a trip worthwhile. The fish have been on weed lines, patches of sargassums, and just about anything else floating has been holding dolphin in the 5 to 10 pound range. Most of the fish are being found from 800 feet of water on out to 1,200 feet or deeper. And there's been birds working over the fish and also over the floaters, which they've been pointing them out for us. Aboard the flyer, we've been constantly scanning the horizon with our binoculars. We're looking for that bird activity. And the fish, we are catching them on the troll with ballyhoo, small R&R mahi magnets, and small feathers. And then once we locate the fish, we've been casting small live baits like pilchers, blue runners, and also cup bonita or ballyhoo on spinning rods. Now, I got another photo here. This is the biggest dolphin I've heard of in the last week. It's a 25-pounder caught aboard the Cutting Edge with our good friend Captain Quentin.
Yes, Quentin.
Now moving inshore, this is prime time to target snook in the inlets. All the inlets throughout the region, they've been holding snook. Most of those snook are over slot size. Not that it matters, because we got to let them go. Most of the snook, they're being caught early in the morning and late in the afternoons into the evenings on live baits, pinfish, pilchers, herrings. You want to fish them near the bottom using a Jupiter rig, or you can try bouncing 1 to 2 ounce flare hawk jigs or jig heads with chartreuse tails along the bottom. That's also been getting some bites. Or you can try trolling some deep diving lures along the jetties and the ledges. That's another great way to target these snook. The outgoing tide has been the best unless the water is murky, in which case they've been biting on both tides as long as the water is moving. There have also been some big snook roaming the beaches, especially in the north end of the region. These snook, they can be sight fish early in the mornings off the beach. You can use live baits, croakers, herrings, or pilchers, or 4 to 5 inch jerk baits in green and white and pearl colors. And then with this hot, rainy weather that we've been experiencing, it's gotten those peacock bass and the largemouth bass really fired up. The peacocks especially, they're being found in all the local lakes and canals of Dade and South Broward counties, and they're biting small live minnows and shiners, small crankbaits and chartreuse, quarter-ounce jigs in dark colors. And if you're looking to catch one on fly tackle, try using a small Clouser minnow in red and white or green and white. Look for those peacocks to bite best in the middle of the day in areas of clear water with current, around spillways, bridge columns, and any other structure.
All right, thank you so much, Jimbo. We're going to go ahead and take a look at what are we smoking fish dip hotspots from the southeast region. He says inshore, look for the snook in all the inlets and off the beaches in the evening and the early mornings where they are eating live and artificial baits. And then offshore, head offshore in search of the dolphin that are hanging around the weed lines, floating debris, and are eating troll or live and cut baits.
I love Jimbo.
It's like a roller coaster.
You can catch
He
kings,
picks you up,
but not right now.
But not right now.
You can catch snook over slot, but gotta let him go.
Yeah.
Just love him.
It's a
All right.
roller coaster
He
ride.
is. He really is. All right, we're checking in with the real legend Central East region coming right up. But first, Dave is the king of the castle over there at the CCA workbench for Academy Sports and Outdoors, Rigs and Techniques. Dave.
Getting shiny,
Ooh.
dressing up the pin rig for the kingfish. We're going to be talking all kinds of ways to dress up this wire and make these kingfish bite it.
And then to the smoker for you.
Correct.
We'll
And
be
then to
back.
the dip, to the cracker.
When I dip, you dip, you dip.
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Yamaha. Reliability starts here. Sirius XM Marine. Weather, fish mapping, entertainment. Academy Sports and Outdoors. Have fun out there. Real Legends. Everything you need to live life local. Penn. Let the battle begin. Casa Vieja Lodge. 5-star angling in beautiful Guatemala. Stiffy. Innovators in shallow water performance. And Daiquiri Deck. Food, drinks, friends.
Nobody wanted to be ready.
Well, we're here at the CCA workbench, and the Academy Sports and Outdoors Rigs and Techniques part of the show is up. So you and Brie have to quit conversing.
Everybody wants to be a redhead now. That's just what we were talking about.
I know, when you were a young fella.
That's right.
So what do we got? We got kingfish this week. So
Yes,
what are we going?
you know, he's the most common member of the razor gang, you know, the wahoo, the barracuda, and the kingfish. And up where I, you know, started fishing out of the Cape Canaveral area, we always had to use wire because there was always wahoos, barracudas, and mostly kingfish around. He's the most common member for me. A lot of people, you know, suffer from the barracuda bites, but we don't have that many up there when we get out, you know, to the deep water. And that's where we're usually starting to fish for kingfish around 80 or 90 feet of water up there in the reefs, like the Pelican Flats, any kind of ledges, rocky areas where bait hangs out. And if there's bait there, there's going to be kingfish there. And that's why in the summertime, like right now, all the bait is running up and down the beach. A lot of big kingfish come up on the Atlantic coastline during the summer times. The great big ones, you know, the 40-plus pounders will come right up on the beach and get into those pilchards. And that's been a historical fishery along the East Coast for a long time. Mainly, though, when we're fishing for kingfish, we're targeting them trolling or live baits. The best way to catch them for us has been to catch the biggest fish is wherever we're fishing for bottom fish or whatever, we'll, you know, send down one of Ray's sabiki rigs and catch us a live bait, and then we put a big live bait out. Whatever we catch on the bottom, doesn't matter what it is, can be a squirrel fish or a little, you know, legal snapper, whatever, any little bait fish that we can catch on the bottom, we'll put out on a big stinger rig like this one. And what we'll do is we'll have usually have a single hook in the front. Some guys put a treble hook in the front, and then a spine of treble hooks to go all the way down the back of the bait. And we do this because all mackerel fish, and king mackerel in particular, like to come and take the tail off a bait. When there's a live bait swimming around out there, they come. That's their modus operandi. They come with those really sharp teeth in a scissor shape, and they can swim right through a bait. They can take a live bait in half in a kite clip and not even pull it out of the clip.
Right.
And you just got a half a bait hanging there with a razor sharp edge. And so what we do to keep that from happening, keep these kingfish honest, is we festoon that bait with a lot of little treble hooks so that he can't come in there and hit him in the middle and not escape. I don't care if I get him in the head or in the body or where we ever get him, but when we have all these little treble hooks out there, that's the best way to get him. And this is like I said before, that's a super killer method to catch great big kingfish, you know, without having to troll a lot.
So now, Dave, you were talking about that you do troll for them.
Yep.
So when you're trolling, what do you typically like to use?
Well, I like to use a pinfish rig. I got a pinfish rig right here, and I'll put some shiny, put a ballyhoo on there, and put a nice piece of shiny, like that foil right there. You got.
So you
we call
put
it a
this
king
in the front.
Yeah, we'll put a ballyhoo on there and slide that down in front of it and troll that. Although I catch a lot of them on naked ballyhoos as well. I always like to have 2 naked ballyhoos out there, no matter what. Also put, you know, in any of the island lures, they always work in front of a ballyhoo. A kingfish likes shiny stuff.
Right.
You know, you don't have to go real fast, but if you do want to go up to 7 knots, you put these in front of your ballyhoo. Your ballyhoo lasts a lot longer, plus makes a bigger profile. You might get some bigger bites out of some of those fish that'll come to the surface.
Right.
And the kingfish really like the sky. We call it a sky bite. You know, they'll come from below and they'll grab your bait and they'll be going 10 feet up in the air still because they come at such a speed and they grab it and then it just keep going up and up and up. It's
So
a
a lot
wonderful
of
thing to
times
watch.
you'll pull up on a wreck.
Right.
And you get cut off on the way down. That's kingfish. Do we have a triple hook rig here?
I couldn't, you know, I was trying to make one out of these eagle claws, but they're so
the
strong.
O'Shaughnessy.
Yeah,
You can't.
their eyes are so tough that I can't open and close them as well as I can some of the others.
But a triple hook rig essentially would be like this.
Correct.
You could hook that in a ballyhoo, or
and just let it sink
you
down.
could put this on a bucktail, which is what I did a lot of years ago.
Right.
And then I would jig this with a ballyhoo on it.
Correct. Or you could even not even put the ballyhoo on there. These jigs, I mean, most commercial fishermen, the commercial kingfish guys, they use a big white bucktail jig. They tie their own a lot of times because they don't like a whole lot of hair. very minimum hair. And
I understand that.
Yeah, and sometimes they'll put a bonita strip on here or a little piece of kingfish skin, anything to just flap and they'll just troll around. A planer is a great thing to have on down because a lot of times the kingfish will be holding lower in the water column, and we want to get our baits down there, and a planer is a great way to get your baits down. Even some of the lighter stuff, it'll get it down there deep.
Right.
So
good job
catch
over here
kingfish
tonight, Dave.
No
That
worries.
was a good start. All right, Bree, where are we rolling next?
We're praying for those sky bites. Those are the most fun.
Yeah, they are.
For sure. All right, well, the rumors are true when it comes to the Kings showing up in the Rio Legends Central East region. So, Captain Jim Ross, let's spill some tea.
Well, I don't know if there's anything left to say after Rick and Dave just got done with the rigging station over there.
They killed
they covered it all. Everything that they talked about is how we catch kingfish here in the Central East region, and our bite's really good right now. Now it is starting to taper off a little bit through the mid-morning section. You're going to get a good bite first thing in the morning, and then it's going to pick up in the afternoon with this recent full moon that just went by. But any of the things that they just mentioned are great ways to catch kingfish. Kingfish are kind of like the raccoons of the fishing world. If it's small and shiny and moves fast, they'll try to eat it. And so that's a benefit to anybody that likes to throw artificials, because you can catch some really cool kingfish or get some really cool kingfish bites on artificials. But like Dave said, most of the time we're using a 2-hook stinger rig. And I like to use anywhere from a number 4 to a number 1 nose hook, and then a number 6 or number 4 trailer or quote unquote stinger hook on a short piece of wire. Most of the time we're putting these in live baits, but you can put them in dead sardines, dead cigar minnows, different things like that will also troll. And if you get, we call it spinning minnows, but a lot of guys try to get away from that spinning effect a lot of times. And what you can do is put a jig head as your lead hook so that it acts like a keel, and then have that stinger rig back against the side of the bait fish. And then the king mackerel, when he tries to cut it in half, he gets that stinger rig, and the surprise of, getting a bent rod is a whole lot better than just watching the rod tip bounce and then nothing be there, because the king mackerel actually cut the bait in half. Now, most of our now are running 14 to 24 pounds. Make sure when you're putting those kingfish rigs together, though, you're using 4X treble hooks. That's going to really help you keep those fish hooked up. And speaking of keeping fish hooked up, I've got a photo here. Now, this fish actually came on a 6/0 circle hook and some 60-pound fluorocarbon leader, because we were just barely off the beach trying to target some tarpon, and this king mackerel skyrocketed our long line and got the circle hook right in the corner of his mouth. And young Cole did a pretty good job of bringing him to the boat.
He sure did.
Awesome.
My second species is amberjack, and we're getting a lot of small to medium amberjack right now. They're holding on the larger structures in the Rio Legends Central East region, Rick. And most of our artificial wrecks are pretty good size. So if you find one of those bigger wrecks, that's where you're going to find most of your amberjack. 90 to 200 feet of water, even deeper, you're going to find those fish. And we use live croakers. That's the best bait, or a live grunt. Those are really, really good baits for those little juvenile reef donkeys. Now keep an eye out for the sharks, because they will definitely be close by. They don't really leave those amberjack schools alone. So if you do start getting bit off by the amberjack or by the sharks, and you start losing the amberjack, just move. Don't sit there and feed the shark. It just rewards bad behavior, basically. So just don't do that. Just go to another wreck. There's more amberjack to be found, and then you can also find them all up and down the cones as well. Now, swinging inshore, redfish right around the Ponce area is really good right now. Got Captain Brian Pound sent me a report. He had some really good days this week, and you can get Captain Brian at Southern Fishing Charters FL.com. But he was saying that most of the time that he's catching these fish around structure. He's fishing docks, he's fishing pilings, the bridge piers, the jetties. Those big bull reds are holding around all of those structures right now, and he's using croakers, pinfish, pigfish, and pogies. That seems to be the best things for him. He's rigging them on a knocker rig or a slide and sinker rig, depending on how far he wants the bait to get away from the weight. And I got a picture here of a nice one that Les Bender caught with Captain Brian the other day.
Nice. All right. Tell us about the tarpon, bud.
Well, that's one of my favorites, Rick, just like yours. And they're all up and down the beach this week. They're feeding in the pogie pods. You can catch them on pogies, croakers. There's silver perch out there. There's silver trout out there. There's just all kinds of stuff. But the main thing the last couple of days that you really want to look for as you guys and gals are going up and down the beach, and you can do this as a surf angler from the beach. You don't even have to have a boat right now, and you can lay on tarpon. Find the red minnows. Little red minnow pods are cruising up and down the beach, and the tarpon are beating on them. I mean, just absolutely gorgeous. So it's like elephants just wading through a peanut field, to be honest with you. Most of the fish right now are anywhere from about 40 to 80 pounds. Got a nice picture here of my son, Captain Justin, with one that they were grabbing the other day. But you do not need a boat to go catch these fish right now. You can throw a saltwater assassin 4-inch paddle tail, sort of a root beer color or a white color, and I'm telling you, man, those fish are close to the beach, and you guys and gals can get them right off the sand.
Thank you so much, Jim. You did a great job as always. I love that Yamaha red. That's the old school red hat. My favorite one of all time.
He likes red.
Who'd have thought? Yep. All right, bud, thank you so much. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the Rodan Marine Systems hotspots from the Central East region. He says snook and mangrove snappers around the docks and piers in New Smyrna area use live shrimp, fingerling mullets, or croakers on a knocker rig. And then offshore, the Spanish mackerel. They're holding in 70 to 90 feet reefs, guys, throughout the region. Slow troll, live baits on a wire stinger rig for the best results.
Like elephants wading through a field of peanuts. Yes. Love Captain Jim Ross. I'm just loving on our captains tonight. They're the best.
They're doing great.
All right, listen up. We're in the final weeks of the West Marine CCA Florida Star competition presented by Yamaha, and this is a friendly reminder that you still have time to register and catch a winning fish to earn a share of $500,000 in prizes and scholarships. So make sure you go to ccaflstar.com and get registered today. It is not too late. We just had our 2 winners in last week on the show. That was fun. All right, the Alto Equipment Northeast and Garmin Panhandle regions are showing their hand next. Plus, we're talking to a few friends from Florida Coast Equipment, so stay hooked, and we'll be right back. Look at them.
Look at those pretty girls over there.
Those are our friends. We'll be talking to those girls.
All right.
We'll be back.
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Power Pole, Total Boat Control. Berkeley, your fish, our science. Bajio Sunglasses, blue light blocking, radically clear lenses. Blue Water Outriggers, everything for your outdoor adventure. R&R Tackle, from our tackle box to yours. Florida Coast Equipment, your local Kubota dealer. Coast to coast, we've got you covered. And Garmin, plot your paradise.
And as you can see, joining me is Todd Bachman from Florida Coast Equipment. You know, Todd, I know on the weekends you and the girls love to go fishing. We have your 2 beautiful daughters with us. You know, let's talk a little bit about Florida Coast. You know, you guys hunt and fish on the weekends, but more importantly, it's been a year since you've been here. What have you guys been doing for the last year?
We've been busy. Last time we were here, we had 7 locations, most of them located in South Florida, really on the East Coast. Today, we've got 14 locations, and we go from Ocala, Florida, to Homestead, Naples, Tampa, Orlando. If you need a piece of orange equipment in the state of Florida, be it compact construction, be it BX tractor, zero-turn utility vehicles, we got you covered today.
So let me ask you, you know, we've had some challenges with inventory. How you guys doing?
So we're like everyone else. We've struggled with supply chain, but for the first time, we do see a light at the end of the tunnel. There are certain models that are still extremely difficult to get, but overall, we've got some inventory on the ground, so we're pretty excited about that.
So out of the 14 locations, Todd, you know, service is a huge part of what you provide. Are all of they going to be service centers as well?
Absolutely. We are 100% committed to delivering superior customer service, unrivaled product support all the time. Anybody can sell you a machine, but these things are built to work. They will break. And we figure out folks do that every day. And so we've got to make sure that we have factory trained technicians, fully stocked part shelves, and we are committed to doing that at all 14 locations.
So I got a question for you. You know, we've always had some type of sales incentives. So what do we got going on now?
So, hey, interest rates are an issue that everybody's talking about right now, but we still have 0%. We have 0 down, 0%. Depending on the model, it can be anywhere from 0 to 24 or 0% for 60 months, depending on the model with no money down. You know, come on in, we'll talk about what your needs are, and we can figure out what we got for you.
All right, so where can we find out where those locations are? And then more importantly, where can we get more information in regards to all that financing?
Look, the easy way to go is you can check us on any social media platform, but the easiest place to find us is www.floridacoast, E as in Edward, Q as in Queen.com, and everything's there. You'll find our maps, you'll find our location, telephone numbers, emails. You can get in touch with us there.
So I know you've been fishing with my good buddy Chase Vonador. You guys cheating on me offshore. But when are we going to take these sweet girls to go catch a tarpon or a snook? You've been holding out on me for 3 years.
Hey, we can do it whenever. They're always ready to go. If I get them off a lacrosse field, they're on a boat.
All right, Bree, you heard it right there, man.
Love that. All right. Sometimes in life, timing is everything, and that's especially true with our star species and the Alto Equipment Northeast region. What sayeth you, Tommy?
That's right, Bree. You know what? We picked a really great time to talk about kingfish because the kingfish bite has been going off here in the Northeast region. You know, over the last couple of weeks, the kingfish have been thick along the beaches throughout the region. You know, it has slowed down a little last couple of days as we get away from that moon, but it's still pretty good. Now, this time of year, you know, we typically get that good push of fish on the beach as we get close to the full and the new moons a little bit as well. You know, those bigger fish come in shallow to spawn. Now, on top of that, we've had a little bit of a thermocline offshore, so that's probably pushed even more fish towards the beach. Now, kingfish, they're a great fish for the experienced and even the not-so-experienced angler. It's pretty dang easy to get set up for them. Get out there and catch a few. The process here would be, you know, cast net some pogies along the beach. There's been a ton of them all up and down the beach throughout the entire region. Rig those live pogies on a wire stinger rig, and then slow troll those baits either up top or down below on a downrigger. Now, I've been doing well by trolling the 7.5-inch Berkley Magic Swimmer with a small length of wire leader in front of it. You know, that lure looks incredible in the water, and the kingfish and the tarpon as well, they both love that thing. Now, if you're fishing the beach, you're going to want to typically be in about 30 to 50 feet of water. Try to keep your speed as slow as you can go. You know, those beach kingfish tend to be on the bigger side. You know, over the last couple of weeks, we've caught quite a few fish in the 30-pound range, and I've seen pictures of some fish in the 40-plus pound range. Now, the kingfish are also consistently on those nearshore reefs, just like Jim was talking about throughout the summer, and can offer some steady action with those kingfish, a little smaller, usually about in the 10 to 20-pound range. You can apply the same techniques on the reefs as you would right there on the beach. Now, I've got a picture here, guys. This is my man Myron and his son Matt, and Ronnie and his son Nate with a big beach kingfish they caught with me last week out of the Pathfinder on one of those Berkley Magic Swimmer plugs. That thing is truly awesome. Now, staying offshore, that is, you know, the mutton snapper bite has been going off, according to my buddy Capt. Jimmy Laidler from the Legend Fishing. Captain Jimmy told me that although there's been a little bit of a thermocline offshore, he's been able to fish up in the water column where it's a little bit warmer, and he's getting some really nice mutton snappers. Now, chumming those snappers up is going to be the way to go right now. Jimmy said he's had his clients, if the current is running, he's going to use about a 1 or 2 ounce knocker rig, but typically he's going to just have them flatline the bait back with the chum. And he's using a long fluorocarbon leader with a 6/0 Eagle Claw circle hook. And I've got another picture. Captain Jimmy Laidler sent me this photo of his probably very happy clients with an incredible haul of mutton snapper that they caught east of St. Augustine. Is that enough snapper for you there, Rick?
Yeah, man. I'd say he was a snapper king that day. All right,
definitely was.
Let's go
inshore. Guys, the jack crevalles. You know, we don't talk about them that often, but they're so much fun to catch, and there's a ton of them around in the region right now. You know, with the first signs of the mullet run just starting up just a little bit, I've seen some big jacks in that 6 to 10, even some 12-pound fish hanging around the bridges, the inlets, and the beaches this week. Now, an easy way to find those fish, just look for the bait getting busted on the surface. You can hear it, too. You don't even have to see it. Just listen for it. I really love when those jacks show up because they fight like crazy, and they're going to eat just about anything you get in front of them. Now, my favorite way to catch them is on a topwater plug, and that Berkley Jaywalker 120, a little bit bigger. It's a perfect size right now for those jacks. They're loving that thing. Look for more of those jacks to show up over the next few weeks, even the next month or so, and don't miss out on that. It's a lot of fun. Also inshore, you know, nothing has been as consistent as the flounder bite this summer. They're still chewing really well this week. We have we have a morning low tide this weekend, which is going to be the perfect time to target some flatties. Now, I like to toss a mud minnow, a finger mullet, or fingerling mullet, I heard Rick call it that a minute ago, or a saltwater assassin paddle tail rigged on a 1/4 ounce jig head. Throw that to small runouts or little creek mouths. edges of the oyster bars, the edges of the sandbars, and then just very slowly work those things back to the boat. Those flounder, they're aggressive, and they will come up off the bottom, but I'll tell you what, if you want to get the bite, make it easy for them. Keep your bait down close to the bottom. The docks around St. Augustine Inlet, they've been a hot spot for the flounder. The rocks, the riprap, and the docks up around Mayport have also been doing good. The average size seems to be up a little bit this week with a lot of fish in that 15 to 18-inch range, but there are some bigger fish mixed in there. Speaking of bigger fish, I got one last picture. This is Courtney Wozniak with a doormat flounder that she caught up there in a creek in Jacksonville.
Oh my goodness.
Wow. Way to go,
Flounder
girl.
proud.
Her mouth is just as big as his. She's
Man,
like,
that's awesome.
so stoked. That's awesome. Go Court.
Great pictures this week. Tommy, thank you so much. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the strike zone, northeast hotspots. He says inshore, flounder in the creeks, the docks, a riprap closer to all the inlets, fish a mud minnow or fingerling mullet on the bottom around the low tide. And then offshore, mud snappers in 120 to 150 feet of water, chum them up, and the cut sardines to get them out of the thermocline.
All right, well, the biggins are coming our way in the Garmin Panhandle region, so let's listen to Captain Pat Deneen and see what we got to do. Talk to us, Pat.
Hey, Brie, first off, Tommy's the picture king. I love all his pictures. But up here in the Panhandle, we catch kingfish spring through fall. The biggest fish are typically caught September through October. The kings are caught mainly in the Gulf, but the Pensacola Bay will produce some really good smoker kingfish on Menhaden in the fall up around that 3 Mile Bridge. Currently, the king fishing has been hit or miss. Basically, it's quality, not quantity. The kings that are being caught are on the large size. Most are caught slow trolling or fly lining a live bait on a stinger rig, either naked or with a small duster. Live herrings, cigar minnows, mullet, blue runners are all really good live baits. The bonitas are a common bycatch, but sometimes sails, covias, or wahoo are caught, as a bonus. Good troll lures are lip diving plugs and drone-style spoons. And like I said, right now, most summers, kingfish are the bread and butter of the charter fleet. This summer, they're, like I said, they're hit and miss, but most are being caught while bottom fishing and, keeping a bait up on the surface. But staying offshore, the vermilion snappers and the mingo snappers are biting really good. Nice catches are coming in daily from both state and federal waters. The deeper federal waters are producing the better grade of fish. Use a 2-hook or a single-hook dropper rig baited with fish bites or a cut bait. Better yet, if you can find them, small pilchards, menhaden, or herrings make really, really good mingo or vermilion snapper baits. You want to fish at natural bottom or artificial bottom in 80 to 170 feet of water. Mangroves and lane snappers are common bycatch. There's a picture of a nice catch of vermilion snappers caught this past week with rooster tail charters out of Pensacola, and that's a pretty typical catch if people are going out there looking for those mingo snappers, and they're a really good eating fish.
Nice. Let's go inshore, buddy.
Yeah, man. Rick, moving inshore. Speaking of snappers, the mangrove snapper fishing has been really, really good. The same little live baits that are candies of the vermilion snappers are perfect for the bay mangroves. Basically, those little herrings, those little pilchards, those little menhaden. You want to fish them either free lined or on a Carolina rig, using a light fluorocarbon leader and a small light wire circle hook. You're going to find those mangrove snappers around the deeper bay structure, like the bridge pilings, the rocks piles, the cones. Chum them with live bait and dead baits. And if you can get those snappers to come up off the bottom, better yet, just free line your bait with no weight. The bay mangroves are running up to 12 inches or so. And that's been really, really consistent lately. And then finally inshore, the redfish, big redfish, are biting in the bays. Find them around the big bay bridges, particularly the 3 Mile Bridge, the Mid Bay Bridge, and the Hathaway Bridge. And also around the Menhaden schools in the upper bay areas like Hogtown Bayou. Free line or slow troll your live baits or troll diving plugs in 15 to 20 feet of water. Also keep an eye out for bird activity or toppler action. Or if that afternoon wind dies out, you're going to see the surface, hey, look over there. There's a bunch of nervous water. These big reds are often mixed up with Jack Crevalle, so be ready to run and gun them. And there's a picture of a big redfish and a Jack Crevalle caught this past week with Chattahoochee Bay fishing charters out of Walton County. And we've been doing that pretty much every day. It's been really good with those big jacks and big reds.
All right, bud. Thank you so much. You did a great job tonight. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the blue water outrigger hotspots from the Panhandle region. Pat says inshore fish the residential docks, lights, and Chino, and what is that, Brie? Garnier?
Yep.
Bio, and trout and redfish on live baits, and then offshore vermilion snappers on small live baits and cut baits over the natural bottom in 120 to 150 feet of water.
Oh, Patty Pants.
Patty Pants.
Remember when I used to call him that?
Yeah.
Well, I'm bringing it back.
I bet he remembers too.
I bet he does, but not tonight. All right, kings and queens, we're headed to the land of the Yanmar ISB Keys region when we return. But first, we're seeing what Dave has for us at the Seasay Workbench.
Booze. We've got booze.
We got booze.
Yeah, it smells really good too.
I think Patty had a booze or two before he was doing the report.
It better have been Tin Cup, because that's some good whiskey right there.
A lot of red snappers.
We'll be back with new product.
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Alta Equipment Company, where uptime matters. Ameritrail, load, launch, relax. Rodan, set it, forget it, catch more fish. Fenwick, feel everything. Tin Cup Mountain Whiskey. Discover Crystal River, Florida. Bass Assassin and Saltwater Assassin. Best lures, period. And Maverick Boat Group, makers of premium boat brands Maverick, Hughes, Pathfinder, and Cobia.
An entirely new species of extreme predator is moving offshore. The Yamaha 5.6-liter V8 XTO offshore outboard. Extreme big block thrust and power in the industry's first direct injection 4-stroke. Quiet, efficient, powerful, and proven Yamaha reliability. More than an outboard, it's a fully integrated power system. The all-new Yamaha V8 XTO offshore.
Whether you like to ride the wind, find your secret cove, or reel them in. Plot your paradise with GPS Map Series from Garmin.
Why is Casa Vieja Lodge on everyone's bucket list?
Left teaser. Left flat as well. 2 fish. They're everywhere. Right flat teaser as well. Left flat, right flat teaser.
Come to Casa Vieja Lodge and check it off your list.
Hey guys, we're here at the StarTron booth, and as you can see, I have my new products man, Dave Farrell from the Florida and Texas Insider Fishing Report. Dave, we've talked about StarTron fuel treatment for years on both of the shows, but let's talk a little bit about the new product they're just introduced here at the show.
Well, what it does is it builds on the old. You know, before they had all the enzymes in there, you know, to take care of all the water and all that kind of stuff that gets in your fuel, the bio junk that gets in there and mess up your fuel. Well, now they've added extra corrosion inhibitors, you know, to take care of all the other stuff inside your motor. You know, keeps everything lubed up and rings all nice and tight. And it's just a whole new product because they've added all these new corrosion inhibitors in with the enzymes.
And guys, as you know, having a corrosion inhibitor is really important in South Florida as well as up north or in any place in Florida.
Salt or fresh water.
Because we have a lot of products. Our generators have metal gas tanks. Our Harley Davidsons have metal gas tanks. We have gas tanks in our chainsaws. All the things we're going to need during hurricane season. So as you're getting ready to put all of your stuff back as the season ends here in another few months, make sure that you try the new StarTron so that you don't have any problems because now you got the corrosion inhibitors.
This little bottle treats 40 gallons of gas and it'll keep your gas fresh for 2 years.
And if you have any questions, you can simply go to startron.com and they'll answer them for you. Well, we're here at the CCA workbench and we're going to be trolling the edge for new products with Taco Marine. You know, Dave, the one thing, we never mentioned that you can put StarTron in your car.
Yes.
But I'm going to tell you, why don't we?
I do.
I do.
I do.
I do too. All right, so let's get started.
First off, we're going to start with our tin cup, our straight mountain rye whiskey. You know, back in the days and, you know, in the late 1800s, all out west and everything was rye whiskey. When you got whiskey, it was all rye whiskey. It has to be made, you know, to be called rye, it has to be made with 51% at least of rye grain. So this is a traditional rye whiskey. It's a 90 proof, 45% ABV, really bold, you know, but smooth. It's distilled and aged for 3 years, which smooths out a little bit of that alcohol content, and it's cut to proof with Rocky Mountain spring water. So, you know, you can't get a better rye than that where do we go to find out more information about all the different bourbons they make?
Tin Cup whiskeys.
Tin Cup.
All right.
Next, real quick, we got the Taco Marine pontoon fender. This is a lock pull pin, and it's very convenient, man. If you got a little pontoon boat and you've got all the, you know, whenever you want to dock to go to eat dinner or just to put the boat up, you know, to have all your fenders on these things really makes it really quick and easy to put them in and out because you don't want to be driving around with them hanging out.
So how it works, guys, is this would be mounted on your boat.
Correct.
This is tied off to your fender.
Right.
And we're just simply going to push it in.
Lock them down.
That's it.
Yeah.
Look.
That's a replacement for any of the pontoon fender locks, and it pairs with the fiberglass ones as well as the metal one. They're all made of stainless steel. It's got an inch diameter and nylon washers inside to keep the dissimilar metals apart, and it has a 3-year warranty from Taco Marine. And you go to tacomarine.com to get you some of those.
I just had an idea.
Did you?
Well, yes. We'll talk about this later.
All
right, so we got some Bahio.
I'll be an investor if we can make some money.
Okay.
We got the Bahio Vega. And this is a large frame sunglasses, but as big as they are, they won't weigh you down. They're made of a plant-based frame there. It's a bio-based frame. Really, really light for how big they are.
Super light.
And so you can wear them all day. They're a high coverage. You know, they got that big, bold, square look and the really wide temples, which keeps the light from coming in the sides. And they're great, you know, for offshore fishing or even on the flats, whatever you want to do with them.
I think I might have to take these.
Yeah, you feel like you're like in a little cocoon in there when you got it because it's all wrapped up, and that's what I like. There's 3 frame colors, 7 different lenses colors. You can get glass or polycarbonate lenses in there. The real nice blue blue light reduction. It reduces glare as well. So.
And that's why the lenses
keeps the eye strain
are so crisp, because the sun creates, out of all the different shades of light, it creates more 22% of the glare that we have is
Comes from
blue.
blue, right.
So now we're removing 22% more glare.
Right, it blocks the blue light, and they have a scratch resistant and an oil resistant coatings as well, and a flex hinge,
Yes.
and really nice rubber on the nose and on the temples to keep them from flying off your face when you bend over the water like I've done 1,000 times. But HeoSunglasses.com, you can
That's
go to
correct.
get those.
All right, what do we got here, Dave?
Well,
Some
that's
jig heads.
Yeah, we had the knock and tail lures on last year. They came out with these little jigs with the rattle
Correct.
built into the tail. Well, now they've come out with their own line of jig heads to match them up with. They got a 1/4 ounce, an 1/8 ounce, and a 1/16 ounce jig heads with the really nice spiral keeper on there. They come 7 to a pack. Just really nice, durable paint job you can see on the ones there. Really sharp hooks as well. Just a really good little jig head, and just to be paired up with any soft bait, that you
I
wanna
can
use.
tell that these guys dip these instead of spray these. As you can tell, you can see you got a little bit of paint up here, which is really good.
Yeah.
When they dip paint, Dave, versus spray, the durability of the paint is 10 times better.
It adds a nice big thick coating. I
Correct.
imagine,
And
versus a
I
spray.
wonder if this has a clear coat on it. It is really, really super shiny.
I think it does have a clear coat, but I'm not sure.
Well, good job, guys.
But you can get 7 to a pack, so they're pretty nice. Nice little.
And where do
jig
we
heads.
go to find out more about these?
MyCoastOutdoors.com. They're made in Katy, Texas.
So here's my idea.
Uh-oh.
We could mount this on the bow of our flats boat, right? And
Yeah.
it's flush, correct?
Yeah.
During tarpon season, when we stake out for tarpon, now we pull this out, plug it in, and now we have
Got a
our
ring.
own way to tie off instead of have to have knots and clips and all of that stuff.
Actually, you just clip
And
it
then-
right to there.
And then it's removable, and as you can tell, there's no water's going to get in there when we're washing the boat on the times of year when we don't need it. We could even probably put these on each back in the corner and use it as a stakeout tool that way too.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
Love it.
Wow, Rick. Look at that idea.
How about
the
that?
idea man over there. All right, get ready for the queen of the Yanmar ASV Keys region with your weekend report and some ways to target your weekend king. I give you Captain Sarah Stanzik. Go for it, Sarah.
Hey, everyone from the Yanmar ASV Keys region. Prime time for kingfish here is like early fall into the spring during the winter. But we do catch them throughout the year as well, but we're just getting ready to go into like peak season for them over the winter and spring coming up. We mostly use live bait like cigar minnows, ballyhoos, and pilchards to catch them, and kite fishing is a fun way to target them. When you use those live baits, that's a good way to get your baits out there and cover a good area. But you can also slow troll a bait for them or even use jigs, so plenty of different options to catch them. A light wire leader and like a number 2 or 4 treble hook is a good setup. Kingfish, they put up a good fight. They're fun. They jump. They got big teeth. Like, they're a fun sport fish. And as for eating, my favorite way to eat them, like most people, is to throw them on the smoker and make a big batch of smoked fish dip out of them.
Well, you guys sure know about cooking over there in the Stanzik house. That's for sure.
We try.
All right. What else you
Moving
got offshore?
Offshore, we still have some really good mahi fishing right now. It's late summer, but we kind of got a late start on our mahi season, I felt like, this year in general. And there's still lots of fish right now. I was walking around the marina today checking on my boat, and I looked over my shoulder, and someone has just like a 20-pound, 25-pound nice gaffer they threw up on the table. I saw that one today. But they've been out like in the 500-foot range in that area, but deeper out too. So start at 500, feet deep. Go offshore, look for signs of life, look for birds, look for weed lines, debris floating, bait jumping. Live pilchards or cup bait like squid are both options for mahi. Sometimes they're picky. They might only eat a live something, and a lot of times they eat cup bait, so that's nice. Here's one of our charter boats, the Kalex. Last week they had a nice rack full of mahi.
Nice. All right, let's go inshore.
Inshore, we've had some permit around lately on the flats. Actually, Richard caught one a couple days ago. It was 25 pounds.
Ooh.
So that was a big one, but there's a cool picture at the end of this little report here you're going to see. They're not easy to catch when you're sight fishing for them. They're really, really tricky and spooky and hard. So it's a it's a big deal if you catch one up on the flats when you're sight fishing for them. A lot of times, how I catch them, it's on accident. Like I'm trying to catch a bonefish and I got shrimp out just, soaking. And a big old permit will come and eat one of my shrimp or a crab or something like that, and it's just a happy surprise. But we'll take a permit anytime and not complain, of course. They're really fun to catch on like a light spinning setup, like the Penn Fin Fisher reel.
Right.
So it's fun. They're fun on light gear. They'll give you a good run. So here's a photo of our little friend. This is 4-year-old William Walsh with a little permit he caught on his own right on the flat.
Oh my gosh!
Wow!
My
now
heart.
tell me he wasn't happy. All right, one more to go. Tell us about the tarpon, please, Sarah.
Yep, we still got tarpon around too. I keep saying it's late summer. Everything's kind of winding there's still been some tarpon around, and they're really fun to catch. They do good jumps. They're a great sport fish for all anglers. Lots of people travel here just to catch them. They'll eat many types of flies if you're fly fishing, and they'll eat dead bait, live bait. Like they're pretty appealing to a wide variety of anglers because of all the options. So for bait fishing, we'll use like a large crab or mullet and fish near the bridges or in the channels where there's good water flow. Outgoing tides are preferred. So here's a photo of a tarpon that was caught with one of our captain's Max gas pennies.
So I got a question for you. I saw a picture of a big, what we would call a flounder here, but you were in Alaska. Are you still in Alaska?
I am not. I got home at 5 o'clock this morning from Alaska.
Wow, what a great trip. So what did you catch quickly while you were there?
Yeah, I caught that big flounder, a halibut. He was 140 pounds. And so that was the big one. And then we caught over 500 pounds of salmon and halibut within the group of a dozen people we were with. And it's all getting shipped home. So I hope you all like salmon because you're going to get some 500 pounds of salmon.
Love it.
All right. Awesome. All right, Cap, we're glad you're home. Thank you so much. Great report this week. We're going to go and take a look at the shallow sports hotspots from the Florida Keys. Inshore bonefish have been plentiful lately with lots of smaller size fish around the flats. But they're still great fun to catch, as you know, Brie. Look for the fish waking or muds and cast your bait at them. And then offshore, mahi bite is consistent. Big gaffers caught lately and plenty of schoolies. Look for the weed lines, debris, birds diving down on the bait to find the schools of fish, and then cast your baits or troll a line behind the boat.
Just for the halibut.
Yeah, just for
I never get to make that joke. Okay, now let's take a look at some tournaments coming up in the Florida Keys. I'm burning my lip.
That's my girl.
Yeah, first we have the Herman Lucerne Memorial Backcountry Fishing Championship, where anglers fish only in the boundaries of Everglades National Park, areas that Lucerne favored to target tarpon, redfish, snook, sea trout, snapper, bonefish, black drum, or bass. And next we have the Take Stock in Children Backcountry Challenge, where trophies for trout, snook, and redfish are awarded in this annual fundraiser, supporting local vocational scholarships and Take Stock in Children scholarships. Then we have the Ladies Let's Go Fishing, Fishing Fever Inshore-Offshore Tournament, where female fishing fans immerse themselves in an annual weekend seminar to learn inshore, offshore, bottom, and fly fishing, and compete in a tournament designed for beginners. And last, we have the Isla Morada All-Tackle Bonefish and Permit Championship, dubbed the Fall All-Tackle 3-Day Challenge, which attracts newcomers to face seasoned veterans in a competition that has taken place since 1970. For more information on tournaments, visit flakeys.com. 1970? Woo!
You know anything about 1970?
I don't.
They got some good music back then. You need to check it out.
They do. I wish I was born in the 70s. I'm a 90s baby.
Yeah.
I hope you're starting to smell some smoked fish dip, because we're taking you into the Startron Central West and discover Crystal River Northwest regions when we come back. And we want to remind you all of our live audience, the last one of the season on September 7th, which is our bass show. So make sure you head to our website to sign up. Come see us. It's going to be a blast.
Rumor has it that Mr. Scott Martin may be here that night.
Oh, producer. No, he's not.
Yes, he is.
Well, you got to come see us, and the Martin will be back.
All right.
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Startron. Start, run, and store with Startron. CCA Florida, the voice of recreational anglers for over 35 years. Fenwick, feel everything. Strike Zone Fishing. Diamond Fishing Products, our reputation is on the line. Berkeley, your fish, our science. Murphy's Law Sport Fishing. Book your trip today at murphyslawsportfishing.com. And Yanmar ASV, a leader in compact equipment.
Welcome back. The StarTron Central West region is gearing up for the Fall Kings. So let's listen in with Captain Jeff Page and see when we'll be in the presence of royalty. Go for it, Page.
I like that. I like that little pithy you just said. We do have some really good king fishing, and it's definitely seasonal. Springtime is probably the longer time that you can catch them, but we do have a fall bite that starts late September, October, and right on into November. The springtime's usually a little better because there's less cold front, and the fish seem to stay around a little bit longer. With that fall run, they get down to the Keys pretty quick. As far as catching them, you can find them a half mile off the beach to 11 miles out. The key is structure. It can be artificial reefs, it can be hard bottom areas, but if the bait is holding on the structure, the kingfish are going to stay in that area for a couple days, a week, if the weather holds. And then you can get out there and you control lip bugs that'll dive down, 15, 20, 25 feet. Chartreuse is a good color, pink. And then if you're using live bait, you can get in those areas and put your Rodan on spot lock and start chumming live pilchards out there and put flat lines out and catch them that way. But probably to get the biggest king, a lot of the guys love slow trolling live blue runners with a stinger rig behind them. Probably that's the way the most big fish are caught. The cool thing about the big kings in our region, you guys, is you can catch them out of a flat boat a lot of times. So I've got a couple nice photos tonight. The first one is a really nice kingfish with my good friend Captain Stacy Capt of Tight Lines. He always takes really good, colorful pictures. And then my second one is of a young angler with a nice king that he caught with Captain Brian Marcy. Staying offshore red grouper. I know he was a species last week, but throughout the entire region, from Boca Grande up to St. Pete, the red grouper's been the mainstay all summer, and guys are scoring well, 110 feet of water. But I got a little tip from one of my captains. He said, pay attention when you're running out to your fishing grounds and when you're coming back, and save those areas of hard bottom because those can become really good red grouper areas. 5 pinfish, frozen sardines, standard bottom rig will get it done. Got a red grouper photo of a happy couple tonight with a real nice StarTron Central West red grouper. Moving inshore, speckled trout. The last few weeks, you guys, all the small hatch bait has shown up on the grass flats, and the trout fishing has been really good from Charlotte Harbor all the way up to Tampa Bay. And the neat thing about it is you catch them on artificials as you can live bait. If you are going to live bait, it's a good idea to cork your bait, be it a live shrimp or a pilchard, about 2 feet under the cork over that 4 to 5 foot model bottom grass flat that are throughout Sarasota Bay, Tampa Bay, and down in the harbor. And then if you're going to go to artificial, you can take that circle hook you were using on your live bait rig and just clip that off and put a light 8 or quarter-ounce jig head with a white gulp shrimp or even a Bass Assassin white paddle tail, and you'll get good results popping that cork with a speckled trout. Got a really nice throw tonight of McDonald with his mom and his cousin with a nice trout he got with me. And my last species, redfish. Redfishing just seems to keep getting better each week. I got reports from Captain Miles Meredith down south and Captain Brett Norris and Mike Anderson to the north. And they both have been fishing the higher stages of the tide around the mangroves and oyster bars with live pinfish, again, corked to keep them up out of the grass, or just a chunk on the bottom where you can also take a white gulp shrimp or a quarter-ounce spoon and run it through them same areas on a slow roll or even a pearl white Bass Assassin. And my last photo tonight is of a real happy angler, Layla, and with a nice redfish of one of several she caught with Captain John Todd Walker out of Sarasota.
Captain Page, great report tonight, right on time, appreciate it. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the daiquiri deck hotspots. Inshore redfish action is heating up with all the afternoon rains. Fish the live pinfish around the oyster bars in North Sarasota Bay on the higher stages of the tide. And then offshore, the good bite of mangrove snappers over the hard bottom areas and ledges in 70 to 100 feet of water. Use pilchards or pinfish. What do you think, Brie?
Just a trout fisherman from Sarasota.
Yep.
Showing it off.
That's it.
All right, the Discover Crystal River Northwest region is ready with only the best, Captain Jeff Hageman. Jeff, tell us what's coming up and what we're looking for when it comes to catching them kings.
Kingfish can be caught through most of my region and even inside Tampa Bay in the shipping channel. So right off the beach, like Paige was just talking about, you can do it in the flats boat. Anywhere out, all the way out to 100 feet of water, depending on that water temp. That magic water temp needs to be between 68 and 75 degrees. That's when our kingfish are here. We get two runs usually in the spring and the fall. You can catch them over artificial reefs and wrecks. You want to look for kingfish anywhere there's bait. So if the bait is right on the beach, that's where the kingfish are going to be. If they're out a little deeper, they're going to be out there a little deeper where the bait is. Like I said, hard bottom is going to hold them best. As far as baits go, threadfin herring, blue runners, either with a stinger rig or without, flow troll behind the boat are one of the favorite ways to catch them. Another way to catch them is big lip baits and king spoons fast trolled over those artificial reefs and wrecks. And that's another effective way to catch them. Or you can anchor up and actually chum and chunk them like you would do for tuna or anything. You just get out there and throw some live baits behind the boat, anchored up, or spot locked on your rodan, and chum those baits behind the back of the boat and throw some dead ones out there, throw some live ones, those to bring them in right behind the back of the boat. A chum bag is always a great option to have out there, and our fish range anywhere from 12 to 50 pounds. Rig, medium spinning rod, conventional, 20-pound braid, high fast, gear ratio reel, live bait rod, haywire, anywhere from number 4 to number 7 haywire always help. And those stinger rigs like Paige was talking about will help you get on those short strikes and helps you catch a lot more fish with those short striking fish. Staying offshore, Captain Rob Davenport of Big Nasty Charters out of St. Pete. Triggerfish just opened up on the 1st, and he's been catching them right now over the hard bottom and 140 to 200 feet of water. Small piece of squid on a 2 to 3/0 circle hook, 60-pound fluorocarbon leader, and a 6-ounce lead. They're a little tough on a fillet knife, but they're worth the hassle because they are absolutely delicious. And I've got a photo here of Tyler Schwindel, I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that right, with a couple beautiful triggerfish.
That's making me hungry, dude. All right, what else? Let's go inshore.
Captain Mario Costello out of Talltails Charters out of Plantation Inn on Crystal River reports a good snook bite right now around the mangrove shoreline, Crystal River to almost past it. He's using either a free-line pinfish or a cork pinfish or a live select shrimp on a 4/0 trocar circle hook, 25-pound test fluorocarbon leader. And right now they're ranging anywhere from 25 to 32 inches. And I got a photo here of an absolute giant that he caught. Nice 40-inch fish.
Wow.
Recent hit. Nice Crystal River redfish right there. I mean, snook. Sorry about that.
I was going to say, if you got some redfish, he got you fooled, Jack.
Moving into redfish, I also got a report from Captain Mike Anderson as well as Paige of Real Animals Fishing Charters out of Tampa Bay. He said the redfish bite's been really good right now. Incoming water, 3/4 of the way through that tide. You want to, and on the switch of the outgoing has been the key. Mike says, fishing these school fish, waiting for the right time to get on them, you'll catch a whole lot more fish. So make sure you don't push in there too fast on an incoming tide, and you'll catch a whole lot more fish. And also right now, it's hot. So take some time when you're catching those big fish. They exert themselves really hard, and they fight all the way to the boat. So take some time to release them. Make sure you release those big breeder fish we got going right now. And I got a photo of Captain Mike's crew with a beautiful Tampa Bay redfish.
I mean snook. Just kidding.
So, Hag, I got a question for you. You know, every year, bigger and bigger snook in the Homosassa Crystal River, the Discover Crystal River region. Why do you think it's doing so well? Because we have had some pretty cold stuff, and they seem to be becoming a lot more cold tolerant.
Well, up there they have the springs that they can always run to and get away from that that super cold water. They can go into the springs and get to that 72 and survive. And I think they've learned to adapt to do that. And it's just getting them further and further north into my region.
All right, man.
They're staying and living well.
All right, thank you so much. Let's go ahead and take a look at the Ozella Key Marina hotspots from the Northwest region. Our Captain Jeff says, inshore, redfish on the top of the tide in the beginning of the outgoing tide. Use live and cut baits for those reds. And then offshore, grouper bite 90 to 220 feet of water over rock piles and ledges. Use live pinfish, pigfish for bait.
Now, you guys are always over there at the workbench showing off, you know, more of the gentleman's style. I just want to give some love to my soldados here. I have them in every frame color, and I absolutely love them.
Yes, you do.
I do.
Have them in all the frame
I
colors.
do. It's my favorite. All right.
Would we have anything less, guys?
The Casa Vieja Southwest region is our last step on the list, so make sure you keep those lines tight, and we'll be right back on the Florida Insider Fishing Report.
All right.
Seeing more with less blue light.
That's it.
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Yamaha. Reliability starts here. Shallow Sport. Penn. Let the battle begin. The Florida Keys and Key West. Come as you are. The IGFA. Every fish, every water, every angler since 1939. Island Lures. Tournament Tackle. Sportsman's Adventures with Captain Rick Murphy. Fishing for adventure. And Taco Marine. Troll the Edge.
Today's Power Pole tip of the week is about the switches that are going to come in the box with your power poles. Now understand, guys, if you buy 2 power poles, you're going to have 4 switches. There's no need to program all 4 of those switches. Just pick your favorite switch. Like in my case, I really love the multifunction switch. I can program this to run all the poles on my boat. So there's no need to use all 4 switches. Now, the reason why I like the multifunction switch is simply because I can isolate the individual poles. I can make one go up while the other one stays down. And while I'm out drift fishing with paddles, this seems to work very well. I can manipulate the angle of the boat. The other thing that I do is sometimes I'll pick up one pole, pivot the boat using the trolling motor, get the angle that I like going down the shoreline, and then I can pick up the secondary pole. So keep in mind that you don't need all the switches, and use your multifunction switch to manipulate the boat the way you want. And that's today's Power Pole tip of the week.
It's like the power pole dance.
Yep.
You got it down. All right, Captain Ronnie Houston is getting right down to business, unlike us in the Casa Vieja Southwest region. So let's not keep anyone waiting any longer. Take us fishing, Ronnie.
Well, like always, it's a pleasure representing the Southwest region. You know, the kingfish in my region, they can be caught throughout the whole entire region, specifically on the offshore side. And what you want to do is you want to target wrecks, you can target areas of hard bottom, and you can also catch these fish out trolling, especially during the time of migration. Now, these fish can also be caught in Spanish mackerel schools, particularly the loner fish. They'll travel with these fish in, around, or below the schools at certain times of the year. Now, also at certain times of the year, you don't have to go far. If you notice, when they have the kingfish tournaments around March or April, they have a couple different divisions. They got a bay boat division, 23 and less, and then 23 and above. It's as simple as catching them off the beach, especially during the migration. Now, we strongly recommend wire leaders are recommended, especially with stinger hooks. That's because of their teeth, and you want to avoid the cutoffs. Or if you're going from braid to mono, I strongly recommend go to your braid to mono small knots so they don't accidentally try to think it's a bait and cut you off between the braid and the leader. Now, large lip plugs in darker colors, especially along with silver spoons, are also good for trolling, especially in those areas of bait pods if you're looking for the fish. And some of the favorite baits for the kingfish are the blue runners, thread fins, and the pilchers. And if you got plenty of pilchers and thread pins, when you get in some of these areas, always have plenty to be chumming to get your limited kingfish. And I got a prime example of a fish that was just recently caught a couple days ago, and this is in the month of August. It's a nice fish for this time of the year.
Sure is.
Still on the offshore side, the mangrove snappers and the lane snappers. Now, if we have good weather like this past weekend, and the forecast for this weekend coming up is light easterly winds, bay boats can make the run southwest of Naples, starting in depths as shallow as 35 feet out to 55 feet of water, fishing areas again of hard bottom. Now, no piece is too small. Chumming if we have good current. Now you can simply use box chum or get you some pilchards off the beach or threadfins just offshore. You can cut them up. Once you chum, you can either flat line or you can just add a little weight like split shots or even 1/8 ounce to 1/4 ounce jig heads. And that's all going to depend on how the fish react to the chum and what depth they are in. 20 to 40 pound fluorocarbons and just about any cut bait strap back will work. Now here we go on the inshore side. You know, the redfish report seems to be a lot better to the north than it has been to the south. East wall from Ponce to Burnt Store, Bull and Turtle Bay, Smokehouse to Bokeelia. Your ideal conditions are, like for the artificial guy, your lower water to spot small groups of schools pushing in the areas of roaming mullet. Simple baits like gold spoons and top water walk the dog lures will work, but as the water gets high, still look for the areas of roaming mullet along the troughs or up against the mangrove shoreline. You can skip soft plastic shrimp and paddle tails under the bushes, as well as using cut baits like mullet, ladyfish, pinfish, or even using live pinfish with cut tails, or chumming live pilchards, especially along the deeper shaded shorelines later in the afternoon. I have a picture of a fish that was just recently caught by Mike Dixon while fishing the Platte Masters Artificial Division last weekend. The last species is going to be the snook. You know, with the passing of the full moon, nighttime fishing along the intercoastal docks and seawalls from Marco to Fort Myers Beach. Now understand, tide's really not important. What's going to be most important is the current. That's what's going to matter most. Now your beaches at the higher stages of the tide, if the wind's not too bad, your easterly forecast, the beaches should be protected. And your passes along with outer Gulf Islands from Marco south to Indian Key. Now at night, you want to use live shrimp and artificial shrimp, 1/8 ounce to 1/4 ounce bucktails. But during the day, live pilchards, pinfish, cut ladyfish, gold and silver spoons, and top water walk the dog lures. I have a picture of a nice snook caught in the region. I'll give you a little tip. Looks like the whole region's going to open up starting September 1st for the opening of snook. I got a tip for you. The intercoastal dock seawalls at night, loaded with plenty of snook. Although there are some smaller ones, there's some good ones in. And I've been going out at night, and I haven't seen anybody along the docks and seawalls. That would probably be, if you're looking for a slot-sized snook when it opens up, get on those intercoastal docks and seawalls.
All right, thank you so much, Ronnie. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the Catty Can hotspots from the Southwest region. He says, inshore, the opportunity for tarpon from Fort Myers Beach to Stump Pass along the beaches of passes using live baits, crabs, and 5 to 7 inch swim baits. And then offshore, catch red groupers before the season is closed from Naples to Fort Myers, 65 to 85 feet of water using cut baits and fishing hard bottom. So Brie, I got a question for you. You know, you've been really fortunate to be able to fish with all of our captains.
Yes.
Is there any
except Sarah?
Yeah, except Sarah.
I'll get there.
But what triggered this question was
Sorry.
I saw the fish you were catching there with Mike Holliday, or actually watching him catch one.
Mm-hmm.
So is there any specific fish that you caught that you thought would be, that it really stands out in the front of your mind?
When I went sight fishing for redfish with Tommy Derringer up in the north east region, that was really cool. Because I could see them. I love Tommy. Tommy's great. He has great pictures every week. But just being able to see the redfish eat, we were throwing top waters in the morning. It was so beautiful. It was nice and chilly.
All right,
so that was a fun trip.
We're gonna have to get you with Sarah so you can complete it all.
We might go get some lobsters in October. All right, you wanted kings. We gave you kings, and we give the people what they want. So stay hooked a little longer to see what we're giving you next week on the one and only Florida Insider Fishing Report. Next week, we are talking sharks. That was a horrible rendition of Jaws.
Oh, come on.
And Rick won't be here. Rick's going to be shooting something awesome fishing per usual. We'll be here holding the fort down. Captain Jim Ross is going to join us from the Real Legend Central East region.
Yes, and I'm going to Texas to fish with one of our Texas Insider Fishing Report guys. Doing a big kingfish show off of the beach in Fort Mansfield.
See you next week for sharks.
Cheating on you both.